this friend. He's totally, well, this is my opinion, he's totally just running off Jing. His family came from Argentina. He's like first generation. And he just eats like Hot Pockets all day and just crap. But this guy is like, well, the reason I want to help him is because he's always complaining about, wow, I'm always sweating. And he's always like, I have too much oil on my face. But this guy, he has so much energy. He has to run a minimum of 6 miles every day. And I'm talking like running hard. And he's just like this energy powerhouse. But he's got these other issues. And I was telling him maybe it's like, I'm probably wrong, but I don't know. His adrenals maybe or something like that. I was like, somebody told me to tell him to take Eleuthero root, but I have no idea.
Well, Eleuthero is Siberian ginseng. Eleuthero is an adaptogen. They were telling him to take adaptogens. Adaptogens, I didn't even talk about adaptogenic herbs, but adaptogenic herbs are very complex. So, in other words, before I was saying that humans have diploid genetic structure, and many plants have more like hexaploid, very complex. Well, adaptogens are like in that class. They're very complex. So they may have like a strand of DNA that's more yang and one that's more yin, so they're balanced between yin and yang. So when we take them, they support our circadian rhythms, emotionally and physically. So this person, someone was telling him to take Eleuthero or Siberian ginseng because it's an adaptogen, because it can help him calm down, even though if he were weak and lethargic, the same herb could help him. It works with our circadian rhythms. Rhodiola. This is one of the great adaptogens right here. In fact, this is the herb that the term adaptogen was coined over. Rhodiola. You can pass that around. Rhodiola. Why don't everybody have a little, take off the lid and put a little on your pinky and taste it. I won't sell that one. I just want you all to taste this. Rhodiola would be really good for this guy. It's an adaptogen. But before I tell you about adaptogens, I'll answer your question directly so I can do that before I forget or get off track. But the guy has a lot of Jing, you were right. He inherited a lot of Jing. But the fast-burning carbohydrates of the standard American diet cause a fast-burning fuel. Somebody who has a lot of Jing, and they're taking these fast-burning carbohydrates as simple sugars and everything, it's going to turn into what we call false fire in the body. And that Jing is going to turn into kind of like this, man, I just can't. And this has a psychological effect on the guy thinking he's invincible. And that he doesn't need to do any of this baloney about trying to be, take these health foods. You don't need that stuff, right?
That's how he is.
So he can keep on eating that stuff and it doesn't make any difference. The fast-burning sugars, along with a lot of Jing, it's just going to create that kind of powerhouse effect. It's a finite energy source that he's dealing with there. That's the thing we need to try and make people understand. You need to go back and supplement the yin back in, and he would get balance there. So he's taking adaptogens to do that.
Okay.
Or he suggested for him to take Siberian ginseng, but I would recommend also some yin jingers and to replenish yin for him so he doesn't burn himself out.
Okay.
What would be the yin? What would be the yin herbs for him?
Yin jing herbs are well, the big one is dendrobium, the yin replenisher that I talked about for healers.
Oh, yes.
And then Hosho Wu, Rehmannia, Cuscuta seed, ligustrum. Some of the blood herbs like Hosho, Dong Huai, ligustrum. But let me go back to adaptogens then, because I didn't get to talk about this, and I wanted to. Adaptogenic, has everybody here heard the term adaptogens? The new thing, is everybody searching for adaptogens? All these people in the nutraceuticals field are out searching around the world for adaptogens now. That is because, they're complex plants. Adaptogens tend to come from places where the weather is really extreme. So I was talking the other day about the ginseng dealing with extremities, and we could see how it was rough and tough, and then somebody made his life easy and it got nice and smooth. The adaptogens tend to come from places like that too. So I'll just actually explain rhodiola as a way of explaining adaptogens. Rhodiola, so in the 1940s, the Russian government was dealing with, they actually had, I don't mean to sound like this, but their army men were like, freezing in the winter out in battlefields. They couldn't stay out there in Siberia and stuff. And so the Russian government was looking for substances that could help their military personnel survive the harsh winters of Siberian winters. And they knew there were some people who lived in the mountains of Siberia who dealt with these harsh winters, and it was said that they took some kind of herbs that helped them get through this. So they put together a team of doctors headed by a guy named Lazarov. In 1945 or 47, they went to Siberia to talk to these people, and the people then gave them Siberian ginseng and rhodiola, and they said, this is what we take, and this is what helps us get through the winters. So this team of doctors took those two herbs back to Moscow, and they put them under a microscope looking at their phytochemistry, and they found, like I was saying, very complex genetic structure that had both yin and yang in it, and many sets of RNA and DNA. And they found out that one of them helped the plant deal with cold and hot, cold and wet, and the other helped it deal with dry and hot. And they saw that these two strands of DNA, one was an adaptogen, this one helped it adapt to this extreme, and the other helped the same plant adapt to this extreme. And so Lazarov coined the term adaptogen over the herb rhodiola, rosea, the Russian version of rhodiola. Also, Siberian ginseng came out to be an adaptogen. Other adaptogens are gynostemma, ashwagandha, ginseng, suma, I think gotu-kola is one. And so the big thing now is a search for adaptogens. But I really believe that all of the tonic herbs that I've talked to you about have some degree of adaptogenic properties in them, because that's why they got brought into the Taoist herbal lexicon, into tonic herb. They're called tonic herbs. What does a tonic herb do? It brings you into balance. And so a tonic herb tonifies more than one organ meridian. It tonifies more than one of the treasures. So that's the properties of an adaptogen. So all tonic herbs are adaptogens in their own way, although I would say rhodiola is one of the very top. This is really a good herb for people who do a lot of mental work, brain stuff, getting oxygen to the brain. People who are under a lot of stress need to adapt, But I would say cardiovascular issues, really good. Great herb, one of the great herbs of the world now, rhodiola. So, did I get off track, or did I answer people's questions?
That was perfect. That was perfect.